Guys, just before this video starts, this is the day after, but if you're wondering why the title doesn't really say what I'm up to, that's because of YouTube itself. For me to get a lot of reach on this video, I have to put quite a catchy title. Obviously I want this to get a lot of reach for more people to be aware of, motor neurone disease, the people affected with the condition and the families. So the more traction this video gets, the better. That's the reason for the title of this video, but the thumbnail should match. But anyway, let's see how I got on. Morning guys, I'm here at Gatwick Footgolf, and today I'm doing the 10 rounds of Footgolf in 1 day challenge to raise money for the Derby Rimmer Motor Neurone Disease Foundation. I should probably get out of the way of the sign. You can probably tell I've never done anything like this before. I'm a bit nervous, but as we go around these first few rounds, I'm going to be talking to you about why I'm doing this, who I'm doing this for. And you'll also probably hopefully get some, funny moments as you watch me fuck my shots up. It's been a bit of a tired morning. My cab was extremely late this morning, but is what it is. But before I start this off, a huge thank you to Gatwick Footgolf for letting me do this. There's no one actually here at the moment on site working, so they gave me permission to come down early. And yeah, alright, let's see how this goes. To be fair, that wasn't a bad first shot, but I'm not smacking it because I'm playing 10 rounds today. I bought 2 balls just in case I lose one, which means I have to carry around my bag and a ball. It's a whole day. Now, who I'm doing this event for is in memory of someone I went to school with who became a good friend during those years, and the few times I saw him outside of school after that, who we lost in October 2023 because of complications with pneumonia and his fight with motor neurone disease. See if I can get a par on the first hole. Okay, par on the first hole. Hole 2, one of my least favourite. That green at the back there. It's a fucking horrible hole. Fortunately, there's quite a lot of dew on the ground, so that ball would have gone a lot further. So yeah, I met Kevin at secondary school. We were in quite a lot of the same classes, and because our surnames are quite close together, we sat next to each other quite a lot. So I got to know him quite well. But where our school was in a town called Red Hill, I would get the bus back, which would drop me off in Nutfield, where I lived, where I grew up. But that bus would then travel on to another village called Bletchley, where Kevin was from. So I would get the bus back with him and some of the other lads from Bletchley quite a lot. So I got to know them quite well, and there was also a bit of a sort of football feud between us, being neighbouring villages. They won every match that we played. But you can see I'm wearing a Crystal Palace top, and the reason for that is the only time I've been to see Crystal Palace was when Kevin and Kevin's dad took me to watch them play in a League Cup game against Sunderland, where they won 2-1. And I always remember the stand that the stand that we were sitting in. I can't remember what it's called, but if you're watching Crystal Palace play football at home, it's a stand on the left side of your screen. And those stairs are steep, man. But yeah, Kevin and his dad took me to my first and only ever Crystal Palace match. And with them winning the FA Cup this year, I've got a Crystal Palace top for it, It was also kind of good. And talking about the football feud between us as well, between Nutfield and Bletchley, The first time I ever met Kevin's dad was when we were playing away at Bletchley, and I scored. And Kevin wasn't playing because he was he either broke his wrist or his foot. I can't remember which. He seemed to have a couple of those during school. But I scored quite a decent goal, and I turned around to celebrate, and Kevin and his dad were actually applauding. And Kevin's dad come up and shook my hand after that match, and that's when I found out that him and my dad actually used to go to school together. So yeah, there was a few different ties going on, and yeah, so that's one of the memories I have with Kevin, and I'll tell you a little bit more about him in a second, just after I fluff this shot up. Oh no, go on, don't go too far, we'll take that. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell, the reason I don't like this green is because that slope at the back there, but fortunately for the dew on the grass, hopefully the ball won't go too far. This is a par 3, I think. Screw it. Point of view shot all the way. Alright, 4. This hole you have to give a bit of welly. That is fucking embarrassing, Daniel. I have to get my pitch and wedge out for this one. Bark. Right, that's not a bad recovery shot. Stop rolling. So one thing I can tell you about Kevin is his ride or die attitude. Trust me, if you ever want someone having your back, it was Kevin. I equated it to very much reminds me of Jermaine O'Neil in terms of that ride or die attitude. And Kevin wasn't the biggest guy in the world. He was actually a little bit smaller than me, but he was like, how do you put it, he was living proof of the phrase, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. And this is I met Kevin's parents about a month ago now, and they told me this story about when he first met someone who would become one of his best friends later on in life. Kevin didn't know this person, but he was friends with his friends, basically, in the mutual acquaintance kind of thing, and they'd met a couple of times. They weren't really friends, and one night out when this friend, I'm going to name him, I won't give you his full name, a guy called Lee, was in a bit of bother, we'll say. Kevin didn't hesitate, even though they didn't fully know each other. He was like, "You're friends with my friends." And Kevin just dove straight in there, and so Kevin was someone to have him know you, or to be able to know him, was just a hell of a, it's hard to put into words, because I went to school with Kevin for the 5 years that we were together, where we got to know each other. And I met him a couple of times outside of school after that. And there was one night where I must have been around about 18, 19, but I wasn't in a good space. We were at our local nightclub, and Kevin was there, and he saw I wasn't in a good space, and just made sure I got home all right. So yeah, and a lot of you watching this, some of you don't know Kevin at all. You know him through me doing this fundraiser, basically, and I appreciate all your support. But a lot of you on here will have known Kevin basically since birth, and it's outstanding to see all the support and love coming for Kevin from the people who loved him and knew him dearly throughout his whole life. I've had people say, in my comment section or in the donation section, that he was like another son to them, and that's just who Kevin was. So to be able to do this for Kevin is an amazing thing. If you're wondering why also I might be rushing through this video just on the first round, it's because the batteries are already on the way out, and I'm not sure why, because this camera is very new and so are the batteries. But no, when I met Kevin's parents about a month ago, his mum Cherie asked me, what is it that I remember of Kevin? And I think a lot of people said the same. It's his smile. It's one of those smiles where you couldn't tell, like, if it was a smile because he was happy with a situation or because he was planning or had already done something. It's just who, yeah, it's a very cheeky smile that could brighten up any room, and just a sort of mischievous and love about it. And I'd also say another thing was he was able to, in a serious situation, he was able to always give a sarcastic or sort of funny answer, but mean it in a serious tone, or vice versa. You know, he was able to just enter any situation and just give you any emotions that you wanted to feel. And the day he told me about his fight against motor neurons, it was late 2017. We were at my local pub. I was working as chef there and I just bumped into him, so we sat down and had a drink, and it's the first time he's ever said anything to me that was serious, and said it in a serious tone as well, because we hadn't seen each other for about 10 years. And I asked him, you know, what he was doing for a job, a career, and he said that he was retired. And I was waiting for the sort of punchline, you know, had he won the lottery, something like that. I was just waiting for something from Kevin. His face just stayed serious, and he said, no, I've got motor neurone disease. And instantly to Kevin, because how well Kevin knows me, being an emotional bitch, he told me not to cry because he knew I was going to. And yeah, he said, don't cry. You know, he's already had to go through the motions and had to, you know, experience everyone else. So yeah, I didn't cry then. The second he left the pub, I bawled my eyes out. And it's just one of those, you know, we didn't see that much, you know, after school, but the time that we did have together whilst we were at school, and the memories that I have with him both in and out, and just knowing that Kevin was smiling till the end, because he was. Yeah, this story I can tell you about. Kevin's parents told me about this, but he was, when motor neurons had taken almost full control and he was wheelchair bound, he would communicate through something called an eye gaze. It's so from what I can gather, it's a screen that you make contact with your eyes, and that spells out sentences, so you can communicate that way. And when they would go to their local sort of social club, Kevin found out that his eye gaze could actually connect to the TV. So he would just start fucking around with the TV and turning it off, just laughing at the back of the social club, whilst everyone's wondering what's going on with the TV. So even right down to the very end, Kevin was still Kevin, and that's why I'm doing this. And not to dwell on it, it's actually a beautiful morning. I think Kevin's smiling down at the moment. He knows I'm going to be out here for the next 15 hours, so he's going to send a baking hot sun my way. And Mikey, if you ask why I'm playing off the yellow tees, because I'm playing 10 rounds. Fuck off. Get in the hole, get in the hole, get in the hole, get in the fucking hole. Alright, first birdie of the day. Suck on that, Mikey. Now, while I've got a small segment of your time, I'd like to tell you about the Derby Rimmer Foundation. So the Derby Rimmer Motor Neurone Disease Foundation was created and set up by former professional footballer Stephen Darby and his close friend and former British Forces veteran Chris Rimmer, both of whom have been diagnosed with motor neurone disease. And they have set this foundation up with the goal of to assist in research from the medical side of things when it comes to the illness, but hopefully to one day find a cure, because unfortunately to this day there still isn't a cure, and it's predicted that at least a third of all of those diagnosed with the illness will die within the first couple of years. And this is something that they all want to change. So all of the money that you've donated today goes towards helping for research when it comes to finding a cure, but also for helping and supporting families for those affected with it. It's just a great cause all round. And with the money that you've helped donate just for this project alone of mine, never mind everything else that you've done on behalf of this foundation, it's all going towards a great thing. And hopefully one day we can all find a way to beat it. Also, as a small disclaimer, if you wonder why I look weird, well, not weirder than I normally do, but when I'm hitting it off the tee, it's because of this surface. I've slipped over on it before and it fucking hurts. If I do get to film later and you're wondering why I'm wearing a cap, it's because this hair that I have and the sun makes me kind of look a little bit like a certain little Austrian fella called Adolf. So yeah, that's why the hat will be out later. Alright guys, so that's the end of the first round done. It took a little bit longer than I wanted, but that's because taxi was a little bit late, and also trying to vlog at the same time is a bit hard. So I've got to speed run the next pretty much all the holes, so it won't be as much footage as I'd want, but also the batteries on this camera are vile. Right, I've got to crack on now. I've got to try and get through the next bunch of rounds before the club itself opens. So I'll see you guys in a bit. That's 5 rounds done. I'm halfway through. It's about 10:30, so I'm powering through it. Staff are really looking after me. I'm hitting some good scores. I'll catch up with you at the end. Alright, and that, ladies and gentlemen, it is 2:30, and that is 10 rounds of foot golf in one day. I think next time I'm going to get a better camera with better batteries so I can record the whole thing. But a huge thank you to all of you watching. A huge thank you to Gary, Cherie, Vicky and Kevin's family for letting me do this. A huge thank you to Gatwick Footgolf for letting me do this. And a big thank you to Ben for joining in on a special round. Ben is the pro here. I won't have that footage on here, but I will have it on Instagram, so make sure you check that out. A huge thank you to all of you who have donated, and just thank you to everyone for making this possible. It's been a day, but yeah, this has been me. The donation page will stay up for a little bit longer, so if you want to donate, just let me know. Visit the link in my Instagram or my Facebook, and yeah, but now I've got some giveaways to give away. I've been in the sun way too long, so I'm going to end this video now. Yeah, as me, as always, much love, take care, peace.